Hi team, was this video which is on adding and subtracting algebraic fractions. I wanted just to start by kind of making really clear, or kind of a very base it in our knowledge of how we add fractions. So hopefully you're looking at this sum and knowing straight away that I need to find some common denominator, otherwise I won't be able to do this. Now, I've got 5 and 7 on the bottom here, so my common denominator will be 35. Quite often that's found really, a common denominator is found really easy by multiplying my denominators together, and that's a trick we'll use later on. So if I have 35 on the bottom and 35 on the bottom. Now, that means I need to work out what's going to go on top. Now, to get this fraction to 35, I've timed the whole thing by 5, top and bottom, so I need to times the top by 5, so I get 15. For this one, I've timed top and bottom by 7. I need to times top by 7. I get 28. Okay, and so then all I do, knowing that my denominators are the same, my answer will have the same denominator, and I just need to add 15 and 28. Okay, so and I will get the answer of 43. Last thing, as always, I need to check if there's any shared factors with 43 and 35, and luckily for me there are not. So I'm done. 43 over 35 is my answer there. And so today what we're going to look at is what happens in this kind of situation. Okay? Well, we've got some variable we don't know. Now, the process will be very similar, and still we're always going to have to make sure we have the same denominator. Okay, we cannot add a fraction, be it algebraic or otherwise, unless our denominator is identical for both fractions. So that will always be one of our steps. So I'm not going to do this example. I'm going to do 4 examples for you today, and then you're going to have a chance to try some work on your own, and by all means ask me if you need any help. So we'll start with this this question over here. Now, initially, I might get really distracted by the b's. I might be like, what is going on? I start getting a bit overwhelmed and wondering what I need to do. But we need to focus on making our denominators the same before we do anything else. So I'm going to work on making sure that both of these two fractions that I'm going to add together have the same denominator. Now, my lowest common multiple of 3 and 5 is 15. So I need to make sure I get 15 as a denominator for both fractions. With this first fraction, to make sure that this whole fraction, or to make sure that it has a denominator of 15, I've times the bottom by 3, which means I need to times the top by 3 as well. So I'm going to have 3 lots of 6b on the top, and on this side I've multiplied the whole thing by 5, and I'll have 5 lots of 2b over there as well. Now you notice I put brackets in because it just makes it easier for me when I start doing my next step. And my next step is going to be to expand the brackets out. And obviously my denominator still has not changed. My denominator is exactly the same. Okay, so I've got 3 lots of 6b. So I'm doing 3 times by 6 and I get 18b. I get 5 times by 2 lots of b, and that gives me 10b. Okay. Now once I've got to this point, my denominator again stays as 15, but I've got 18b plus 10b, and I get 28b. Okay, nice and easy, 28b. I do need to check whether there's any shared factors, but for this question again, I'm lucky that there aren't, so I can leave my answer as 28b. So this question, slightly more difficult, but again, my process is going to be very, very similar. I'm going to start by going, right, what is my common multiple? What is my common denominator? I've got 9 and 2 on the bottom, so I can say it's going to be 18, and that's going to be nice and easy. I'm just multiplying them together, really. Occasionally you might find one that's smaller, but multiplying them together will work every time. And that means that for this equation, I'm going to have a factor of 2 on the top. And then for this side, this numerator, I'm going to have 9 lots of f minus 3. And here is the first time we've got some add or subtract on the top or on the numerator of a fraction. But my process is the same. I have to just make sure I've got brackets around my numerator, and I'm timesing it by 9 like this. And we know what to do with it when it looks like this, when we expand, which is what we're going to do in a second. So this becomes, and I'm going to just move my equals over so I've got a bit more space, 2 times 2f is 4f over 18, plus, and then I've got 9f, and again this is going to be over 18, but I've got 9 times f, which is 9f, and then 9 times negative 3, which is negative 27. And now all I need to do again, because my denominators are now the same, I can do the addition. 4f plus 9f minus 27 all over 18. And this is just an intermediate step. But we should know that 4f plus 9f, I can simplify that to get 13f minus 27, and I can't do anything with the 27, divided by 18. Okay, all over 18. Now here we can check for common factors, and this is simplifying one that looks like this is something we'll look at in a later video. But if there are any clear common factors, every number is even, for instance, then we can simplify it. But again, with this one, we can't. 2 more examples for you. As you can see so far, my process is establish a common denominator, and that's usually done by multiplying 2 denominators together. Putting my factors on the top here, so 9 goes up there, 2 goes up there, and then I'm adding or doing the additional subtraction at the end to get my final answer. So 2 more. Now this time you'll notice I've got my variables, my unknowns on the denominators of my fraction, but my process is very, very, very similar. Okay, my process is very similar. Now, my denominator here, there's 2 kind of ways to do it. I'm going to do the way, I'm going to show you one way. Some of you might see a different or quicker way, and that's absolutely fine if you do, as long as you're getting the same answer. But what I'm going to do is say, right, 7b and 3b, to find the lowest common denominator there, I can just multiply them together, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go, right, so 7b multiplied by 3b, 7 times 3 is 21, b times b is b squared. So I'm going to say 21b squared, okay, 21b squared. Now, 21b squared as my denominator on both sides of these, for both these fractions. Now that means I need to do 3b lots of 5 over here, and it means I need to do 7b lots of 1 over here. So again, I've just multiplied the fraction. This 3b's gone up here, this 7b's gone up here, because I've multiplied the 2 together. That will only work if your lowest common multiple is a multiple of these 2. Now, I now know that my next step will also be over 21b squared, sorry. And this one over 21b squared as well. Now here I've got 3b times by 5, which is 15b. Then I've got 7b times by 1, which is just 7b. Now here, 15b take away 7b is going to be 8b. And that's going to be divided by 21b squared. Paying attention to make sure I'm subtracting instead of just adding every time. 8b over 21b squared. I haven't finished for this question. I will get, I'll lose only 1 mark if I get to this point and stop. But I need to notice that actually I've got a shared factor. 8b and 21b squared, both of them are divisible by b. Okay, both of them have a b within them. 8 multiplied by b and 21b squared. So what I need to do is I'm going to cancel out the b. I'm going to divide the top by b. I'm going to divide the bottom by b. 8b divided by b is 8. 21b squared divided by b is 21b. Okay, 21b. So I should get 8 over 21b for this question. Now, last one before you have a go at some questions. My process on this question has just been to find a denominator to begin with. And so that's what I'm going to do here as well. And I'll answer this question underneath. So I've got more space, so over here I'm going to do my denominator. I'm going to say that, right, my denominator is going to be 2c multiplied by 4c minus 3. Okay, and I can leave it like that as my brackets, but I can also expand those out if I want to. 2c times by 4c is 8c squared, minus 3 times by 2c, which is 6c. Okay, so 8c squared minus 6c. let's have a look at this question then. So I need to make sure that both fractions have, and I'm actually going to use this one to begin with, and I'm going to show you, and we'll use this expansion in a second. 2c lots of 4c minus 3. And I need to subtract then something over 2c multiplied by 4c take away 3. Now, the reason I've left this here is because it shows us really clearly what my missing factor is from this fraction. This has already got 4c minus 3, so I need to multiply the top by 2c. So I'm going to have 5 lots of 2c. This one has already got 2c, but I need to add in this factor, 4c minus 3. So it's going to be 1 lot of 4c minus 3. Okay, 4c minus 3. I then can start expanding my numerators. Okay, I'm going to expand my numerators to give me a little bit more help. Okay, done over previously. 5 times by 2c is 10c, and that still is over 2c, lots of 4c minus 3, and that then is subtracted by 4c minus 3 over 2c, lots of 4c minus 3. Now I can actually do my subtraction. Okay, this one is slightly harder for one very specific reason. Once I've got to this point, okay, I need to do each step. I'm going to be tempted to go, and my first bit, everyone will get right. We'll go 10c minus 4c, and we'll say, right, that's 6c. Perfect. This is the point where I'm going to have trouble. Some people will then just put minus 3. I'm actually subtracting this whole fraction, so there are some implied brackets here. Okay, some implied brackets here around this, which means that actually this is going to be take away negative 3, which means I'm going to add 3. Okay, take away negative 3 means I'm adding 3, and then I've got 2c lots of 4c minus 3 on the bottom. Okay. Now, that is absolutely fine for the answer, but I can as well expand the bottom as I've already done up here to get 8c squared minus 6c. Now, for every single one of these, you'll notice the steps are exactly the same. Okay, the steps are exactly the same. The challenging thing, or the thing that we will sometimes get wrong, is actually just some of the algebra. The key things to look for is the negatives. That's the majorly the thing that will confuse you. Okay, but we're finding the common denominator, and I'm finding that pretty much every time just by multiplying the two denominators together. Once I've done that, I'm making sure my factors are then popped up. So 4c minus 3 goes up here, 2c goes up here, and then I can actually do the subtraction or addition, and because I know that my denominators will be the same throughout the rest of the problem. Okay. You need to make sure you're writing plenty of working, because otherwise you're going to find it really difficult. Okay. Really, really clearly set out, really clearly showing where your denominators are. Okay. The clarity of what you're writing down will save you time. Okay. For those of you that write either quite quickly or those that write too small, please make sure that you're really clear on what you've written, because that's where some issues come in with this, because there's quite a lot going on. Any questions, let me know. Otherwise, good luck.